Support for 100 Watts and a Wire is brought to you by 100wattsandawire.com. To subscribe to the show, simply click the RSS feed or subscribe wherever you get your podcast. When you visit, apply for your free 100 Watts ID and learn how you can become a sustaining member. Click the donate page and pick the option that works best for you. We've got a traveling toolkit, 100 Watts and a Wire gear, and activity days with prizes. That's 100wattsandawire.com. And ICOM. Contest from home or remotely. ICOM's IC9700 is available and shipping. Create your own band opening with ICOM's newest SDR transceiver, the IC9700. And LDG. LDG automatic tuners are built with industrial quality components for safety, durability, and long life. LDG microprocessors run state-of-the-art matching firmware to find a match in seconds. For more information, visit ldgelectronics.com. And West Mountain Radio, specializing in DC power distribution and control, Rig Blaster sound card interfaces, and antenna management. Use code 100WMR to get 10% off your next purchase.
And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. It's Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. How you doing? Coming to you from New Seattle, actually. It is St. Louis, Missouri, the home of the Stanley Cup champions, St. Louis Blues. Now, if you're not into hockey, that's your problem. Because the St. Louis Blues, now look, man, I understand I have a couple of listeners, and a couple of friends maybe, who are Boston fans. Suck it. Oh, just slipped right out. Suck on it. Just take it in, suck on it. Woo! Take it in, suck on it with the champs. Deal with that. Deal with that. See, this just goes real deep, and I'm bringing most of this. Suck on it. Keeps coming out. I got a little thing happening now. It's a little tick. It goes back to the East Coast, growing up in Baltimore, and you are bred to not like certain things. And Boston, suck it, is one of them. And I stayed low-key. Suck it. Low-key because you never know, right? And Baltimore never had a hockey team. We had the Baltimore Skipjacks, which were not a National Hockey League team, so it was really hard for me to kind of dig into it. But moving here, I had a baseball team already, which is terrible. I understand that. And Boston's like, yeah, I was waiting for you to get around and talk about suck it. Just sit back down and start sucking it. Our baseball team is terrible. Hasn't always been that way, but I'm a Baltimore Oriole fan. I get it. I know we're terrible. We were terrible from week one. Our football team is not terrible. The Baltimore Ravens. So coming out here years ago, I kind of longed to, buy into the city, and gradually I became a hockey fan. So I am enjoying this victory over the Boston Bruins. An excellent team, I must add. Great, probably 3 Hall of Famers, on the ice during this series. And it was fun to watch. And a fun parade here in St. Louis. An estimated 500,000 people came down. And St. Louis is sort of known for being a baseball city, which I completely agree, by the way. I don't always feel that St. Louis gave the love to the St. Louis Blues that they're receiving right now. It wasn't a given. There's some real diehard fans who really loved hockey and who were there for 52 years or during the course of 52 years. Imagine playing a game and never being able to win it. 52 years, the streak is over. Well done to the St. Louis Blues, and well done to the Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins, who have an excellent team. And the season's so long, it's probably too long, I believe. You'll see the St. Louis Blues and the Boston Bruins will come out flat starting the next season because the season's just so long. But 2 great teams, and I know if you didn't care about that, you've probably already fast-forwarded. Man, it is field day week, and I give it all week, all month. I start to think about it at the tune-up. The tune-up was created as a sort of precursor to field day. Suck it! Oh! I had an extra one in there, sorry. Suck it, 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 suck it. Okay, I think it's probably pretty good now. The tune-up was created just to get you out there and get active, because I noticed going to my first field day, probably my only field day where I went to visit a club, and I did get a couple of invitations this week, and I really appreciate that, to come out, the St. Louis and Suburban Radio Club, which I joined a few months back, and also a second club. I got to check it out here. They're QRP. Let's see. I can't find it right now. But QRP club in St. Louis invited me out, and I really appreciate that. I don't know that I'm going to be making it out. I probably will be doing it from the old wooden shed. If you've been listening to this show for at least a few months or a year or so, you know I've got an old wooden shed on the edge of my property that I took and outfitted it for solar panels, ended up taking all those down. I wasn't spending too much time out there on the edge of the woods, but I probably will do that again just to escape the bugs, be close to the house and my kids. I'm flying solo for 8 weeks, probably 6 more weeks here as Mama's getting her master's degree. But it's really exciting. The tune-up came out of this because I visited a club in the city, and I noticed that some people were assigned different things. And I thought, well, what if you were building an antenna? It's not like they've got their things already sorted out. And I helped my first field day with a club, the guy with the potato gun. They were hanging antennas. I thought it was great, man. Boom. Up into the tree, one of these potato guns, launching things. Then that guy was done. He just sat around and had some pizza, which I'm sure he was cool about. But, other people did 20 meters. Some did code on this one at this time. Some were doing the overnight. You had assignments. So I thought, what a good way to kind of tune up for this is if you've been building something on your own, set up portable, get out there, and that's when the 100 watts and a wire tune-up became a thing. I want to congratulate our winners for participating. This time we focused on the antenna. Who knows, next year we'll go back, maybe portable, for our tune-up. But Rex, Kilo Echo Zero, Mike Hotel, Juliet won the Chameleon Antenna MCOM 3P. He'll enjoy that down there on the farm. Joe, WA2JOE, he picked up the PowerFilm solar panel. Congratulations to Joe. Jason, W4GF, got a Ballon from LDG. Yep, I didn't know this either, but of course they've got great antenna tuners. They also make Ballons, and Jason can report back, let us know what he thinks about that 1-to-1. Scott, November 2, Golf November Tango. It's N2GNT, picks up the Bio-NO Power battery. Ian and Brent. Ian is November Victor 4 Charlie. He picked up the Octopus hub from MFJ, and so did Brent. Kilo Golf 5, Mike, Bravo, X-Ray. And we also gave away a CQ subscription. And that also went to Ian. There's a bit of a mix-up. We ended up giving away 2 Octopus hubs. So Ian is a recipient of actually 2 prizes, and I may give away, if you're hearing this, send me an email, the first one that hears this, sending me one that doesn't get a CQ subscription, we'll hook you up there, because a mix-up happened. So somebody got more prizes than whatever, but it ended up being good and everything's fine. So congratulations to all who participated and our winners there. We appreciate you. Now, this week, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's the big question. And it's sneaking up on me. It's already Wednesday. And here I am 9.5 minutes into this show. And I need to be thinking about what I'm going to do. And I probably will fall back into my normal monoband dipoles. I have 2 masts that are portable. One's a little bit higher, about 40 feet. I think it's about 40, 42 feet. The other one's probably 32, something like that. And I'm going to put a 40-meter dipole and a 20-meter monoband dipole up at the old wooden shed. This is my plan, at least. We'll see what life dictates this weekend. as I go through. I hope to get on the air. And I'll run a 100-watt station from the old wooden shed and put a switcher in line and go down the line. I usually go... The other side of this is the 100 watts and wire tune-up came to be about trying to almost level the playing field in terms of power. Have you ever been a 100-watt station or less trying to hold a frequency 10 minutes before field day starts? Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, and I get it. It's really hard to hold a frequency, and you've got people running calls or running 1,500 watts, big old antennas. They're powerful. So what I end up doing is going up and down the band. I'll go up 20 meters, switch over to 40, and head down 40, work what I can work, switch back, whatever kind of pattern I get into. But I like the option of monoband antennas if you can. If not, an off-center fed is fine. I've got an antenna modeled after the Radio Waves Pathfinder that I enjoy. It's kind of like an off-center fed. It's got 3 wire legs, if you will. The off-center fed sort of set up, but there's a centerpiece that drops down to your rig, and it's all wire, and I like it. Does well on 20 and 40, and I've made a lot of contacts with it. If things get too complicated at home, I'll probably just put that up. If things get really complicated at home, I'll go inside to the base station and drop 1,200 watts on somebody's head and start working some stations. If things are really, really complicated, I've got a couple, my in-laws are in town here. Mama's away. It's her mother. And stepdad, he's had a couple of heart attacks and issues here. Irregular heartbeats. If something, God forbid, happens, I just won't do it. And life gets in the way, and that'll be fine. I'll listen. That'll be all right. So I want you to be safe while you're out there this weekend. Have a lot of fun. Eat a lot of pizza. Pizza is, a pizza place around this time of year. Woo-wee. If you got a lot of clubs in the area, you're just going to sell some pizza, dog. You're going to sell some pizzas. Suck it. See, it's in me. I'm going to take a break here and come back with Steve. Finally, I connected with Steve. I've known Steve for a while, at least in the digital realm. We've worked together. He's the one that you've read about. He goes up to the summits with his goats. WG0AT Steve, a rock star in the Summits on the Air world. He's going to join us this week, but he went and took us up on the summit. He's provided some audio of his preparation, going up the trail, doing some activating, giving you some notes. So we're going to hear about that this week too. So I'm glad to bring it to you. And we'll do that next. Oh, by the way, West Mountain Radio has joined as a sponsor here. Rewind this, okay, as you're going along. Catch that code. There's a code given in the front of this where you can get a discount from West Mountain Radio. Use that and frequent our sponsors. Let them know when you use our sponsor that you heard it here. That helps us, and the sponsors can track. It's really fancy now what they can do, but they can track who's doing what, and they'll give this code out. You can get a discount and use it, and they'll track and know that you heard about it on the show. So if you like West Mountain Radio, they're a new sponsor right now, brand new to the show, still learning about us. So even if you have a moment, drop them a line. Check out the website, and if you buy something or considering it, use that code, okay? All right, welcome to West Mountain Radio. Happy to have Rig Blaster. Oh, see, that took the place of, my new sponsor comes on just in time for me to tell Boston, suck it. Look, it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. You either dig it or you don't dig it. I understand. But it'd be cool if you stayed around for a little while. All right, friends, Steve is up next. Check this out. It should be fun.
Whether you say 7.3 or 73, even 73s, we're still 100 watts and a wire.
Friends, can we talk about ICOM radio? Yes, indeed, the IC 9700. You can create your own band opening with this new SDR transceiver. It's the ICOM 9700. This new radio is bringing direct sampling to the UHF-VHF weak signal world. That's the IC 9700. All-mode transceiver. It is loaded with innovative features, a dedicated amateur satellite operation, color touchscreen, D-Star capability, RF direct sampling on 2 meter and 70 centimeter bands, and we all know about the IC 7610. This is the SDR radio every ham wants. It's a high-performance SDR that has the ability to pick out the faintest of signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. It's the ICOM 7610 direct sampling software-defined radio that is changing the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. And we can't forget the IC 7300. It is changing the way entry-level HF is designed. High-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design. It will far exceed your expectations. Visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on all ICOM radios.
From the summit to the shack, this is 100 watts and a wire.
Okay, so I'm just doing a little field test here in my backyard, staging my gear for tomorrow's SOTA. And when I do that, I like to test the antenna, and I've got this little half-size picnic table that's set up on a hill behind my house where there's some trees. One tree is about 50 feet tall. These are ponderosa pines, and the other tree is probably about 30 feet high. And I've slung up a end-fed half wave that I plan to use. You can probably hear the wind in the pines. And in the 30-foot tree, it's about only 20 feet up over a limb. And here at the picnic table next to me is an oak bush that's probably about 8 feet tall, but I've got the wire slung over a branch that's about 6 feet up. So, and then there's about 6 feet of RG-174 coax that goes into the little Ballon or Unon, whatever you call it, transformer that transforms that end-fed half wave to something that's reasonable for the radio, like 50 ohms. And then I've got a little antenna analyzer I used to check it out and make sure that it was reasonable for my radio. You know, so the SWR was I think 1.5 on 30 meters, and 20 meters it was about 1.3. And when I set up in the field, I'll try and set up in a very similar fashion. And typically, I know, ground geology, composition materials change, and that does impact the SWR, but it shouldn't impact it that much that it's going to make a lot of difference in terms of performance. Hopefully that's the case, and that's been my experience. I've taken an analyzer with me often times and actually made measurements, and it may be changed 10% or so from one location to the other. So my antenna checks out. I just got through talking with Gary, AB0BM is his call letters, and here's a little audio from that conversation. You can tell Gary had a great signal. He was using an ICOM 730 with a G5 RV. He's in Iowa. This was on 20 meters, pretty much middle of the day. Had a nice QSO with him, and so I know my radio works, a little MTR2, and headphones and paddle, and everything seemed to play well. So put it all back in the box, a little waterproof box I got, and it's ready to go. I'll pack up the rest of my stuff later this afternoon for tomorrow's SOTA adventure, so to speak. Anyway, that's it for right now, and we'll see if we can put together a little audio for while we're on the trail tomorrow. Should be a fun day. Thanks. thanks for listening. This is Steve, WG0AT. About 200 feet below the summit, and the wind died down, and I just heard thunder. Perfect timing. Yeah, baby. What a day, 16 points. Woohoo! It's called getting your goat on, dude. Fun day. Timing was everything. Sun's coming back out, and that big dark cloud is headed off to the northeast somewhere. And we're making time getting down. Hearing more rumbles. Anyway, so today, what was the key learning? I left home without my big HT, or the HT that does APRS. So, but Steve had his, and he was laying beacons, broadcasting beacons. And my wife knows if I don't show up on the APRS.fi website to look for Steve, because I'm probably with him. And it all started with the alarm clock. More rumbles. All started with the alarm clock when I woke up. It was about 20 after 3, and I thought, oh, okay, alarm clock's going to go off in about 10 minutes. So I shut my alarm off on my iPhone, and I laid there for a few seconds thinking about today, and then next thing I knew, it was 4:20, an hour. But the good news is I got an extra hour of sleep. Bad news was I had to rush around and somehow managed to leave the FT2D sitting on my desk. Good thing I got my HF radio. And so the learning, back to that, the learning in my pack was a little Bofang UV3, I think it's called, and it works. It's a frustrating radio sometimes because I haven't taken the time to learn all the menus and stuff, and I just want to use it, Put it on 5.2 and let it go. So Steve and I had comms today on the trail. Me with my little Bofang, and he with his, he's also got an FT2D, and it worked out just great. We got all 3 peaks. He's sitting in the truck right now reading, or taking a goat nap, one of the two, because he's already done this peak, and it's kind of a grunt. It's about 700 vertical feet, fairly steep at times, but respect that I'm not under that on a peak. I'm about halfway down back to the truck by now. Anyway, that's like do a short little recording here, and Christian can trim it down. One thing about going downhill is you got gravity on your side, but you got to make sure you've got brakes. I use poles, trekking poles. It's like having a third leg. when you get to be my age, your sense of balance is not as good as it used to be, and thus it's nice to be able to balance on that third leg. Actually, if I set this phone down, whoops, there goes my HT. All right, guys, that's all for this one. See you on the next one. From Whiskey Golf Zero Alpha Tango 73s, buddy. It's all about QRP. It's all about operating from mountaintops. And as my tag on my tea bag today said, it always has some kind of famous quote. It said, love what you do and do what you love. And that's what I'm doing, baby. Adios. Christian asked me if I'd do a on the trail recording. This is Steve, WG0AT, and we just got through activating 3 summits for Summits on the Air. Have to admit, the first 2 were we could drive pretty close to the summit. We still had a good hike. Maybe on the first one was about 400 vertical feet, and second one was, I think, around 300, and this one was about 700. It really kicked me in the hindquarters. Anyway, so today's learnings are 2 things. One is always have a second HT stashed away in your pack somewhere, be it a doesn't have to be a fancy one. I just have a little Bowfang UV3, I think it's called. And then the second learning is when your alarm goes off, get out of bed. I set the alarm on my cell phone, so it's real easy for me to hit the snooze button. Actually, I didn't hit the snooze button. I turned it off because I didn't want to wake up my wife. And lay there and kind of ran down a checklist. And the next thing I know, it's an hour later. Bad idea.
K0AT, somebody's looking a little tired. K7PX.
Yeah, that's Steve back in the truck. K7PX, WG0AT. I'm just taking my time here so I don't wind up on my doing a face plant. This ain't snow, you know.
Doing pretty good for an old goat. 3 peaks, not bad. Alrighty, I got you on the sights. We'll follow you down. Be careful. Okay, 7PX monitoring.
Okay, Steve, thanks for standing by, and I've got to hear about your conversation with the fence builder. It sounds like fun. He's probably seen a lot out here, I bet. K7PX, WG0AT, making his way. So that was Steve sitting back in the truck, and yeah, put my HT in my pocket. Got the cell phone in the poles and jammed under my arm, and I'm holding the cell phone so I can talk. Anyway, great day. The other thing I typically do is I have a couple of packs. I've got my big pack for, spending the night out, and then I've got a hasty pack that it still has a little mini tarp in it, and I could spend the night out, but I wouldn't be that comfortable. And it has, I put water, number 1, snacks, number 2, and then of course radio. Big radio, little radio. Big radio's the HF gear, little radio's an HT. And then layers of clothing and gloves and a ski hat. Because Colorado, you never know what the weather's going to do. So, almost getting back to the the road here, I can see the truck. It's always a pleasant sight to see that your vehicle is still there, the wheels are still on it, and it's not a burned out hulk like I've heard stories about New Jersey Turnpike and people driving into work and seeing a car along the side of the road and on their way home that evening. Same car sitting there, except it's all burned up and the tires are going. I don't know. I'm glad I live where I live. This is a beautiful state. A lot of great people live here. I'm not speaking of yours truly. I'm speaking of a lot of the people I've met on the trail. And just in general, it seems like people are loving 300 days of sunshine, and it sort of gives you a positive outlook. Anyway, see y'all later. This is Wireless Goat, Whiskey Goat, WG0AT, on the trail, returning from a SOTA summit, and can't wait to do it again. 73s, guys.
From wireless to Wi-Fi, this is 100 watts and a wire.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable when you sell it, with no paperwork required. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
Yeehaw! Hey, what you crying for, boy? It's a good show. This is a damn good show.
Back to Net Control with Christian, K0STH.
Speaking of net control, we're going to expand the net control operators if you have some power. Now, don't get it twisted. The name of the show and the power needed to run a net, or the wish that you had some power, is not connected. The show is called 100 Watts and a Wire. If you've got some power and you're interested in serving as a net control operator, it helps. It really helps if you have some power. 100-watt stations can serve as relays when called upon. That's absolutely fine. But I have found, running this net in the early days with the Drake TR7 that drifted a little bit and 100 watts, that it was difficult. It was very difficult. And I had to have stations with power to the left and to the right. Look, it's the name of the show. You don't all have to run 100 watts and a wire. Get it? Everybody's welcome. 1,500 watts, 5 watts, peanut whistle, I don't care. In terms of the Sunday evening net, it really helps to have a little bit of power. Don't get it twisted. Don't go crazy. If you got a little power, you got your Sundays free, and you want to participate, drop me a line. I will connect you with Steve, who's the captain of the net control team. He's been with me on the nets the longest, been with me for the whole time I've been on HF. And we can help sort out a plan, a sign-up sheet, if you're interested. You can find me on QRZ or Christian at 100wattsandawire.com. All right, we'll talk to you later. Stay safe this weekend, but have a lot of fun. It's a great time to get together with friends and practice the emergency section of this. That's important. Take a lesson away. Try to find a lesson. And we'll recap things next week. So, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And by all means, if you can, please try and stay above the noise.
To join the 100 Watts and a Wire community, visit 100wattsandawire.com.